Hello guys, Noel Cardona here. I want to touch on the how to increase your confidence today. Let's start by discussing why confidence is important. Well, you will know that when you're not confident about something, it's your fear that is coming up, that is talking to you, that is advising you what not to do. It's basically telling you don't go out of your comfort zone because you're better there. There is not going to be any problem if you just stay where you always been. And that's how the lack of confidence will basically associate with fear to stop you. And therefore, if you stop doing or taking action, you won't make any progress towards your dreams. And that's why it is so important. Now, let me introduce you to a concept that I developed, that I talk about in my book, The Mental Breakfast. That concept is called neuroprints. Now, you can have positive neuroprints or negative neuroprints. And for me, what a neuroprint is basically that every time you have a win or you lose in certain activity, then you get in your brain a positive or negative neuroprint. So let's just focus on the positive ones because those are the ones I want you to remember. Every time you win or you achieve something you were planned to do and then you actually get it, it doesn't matter how big or how small it is, you get this positive neuroprint in your brain. I'm not a psychologist, but I would associate that to kind of a scar. It's something that stays in your brain, and every time you're going to achieve something new, your brain somehow goes back and remembers that neuroprint. It uses that neuroprint to say, oh, I've done something like this before, or I've been able to achieve something I planned before, and therefore I can do it again. In the same way, negative neuroprints work. If you just keep losing and not learning from it, your brain will go to use that negative neuroprint and just talk to you to say, oh, you've lost so many times, you're not going to be able to do it this time. So it is important for you to know that you need to accumulate positive neuroprints. And the best way to win is obviously to get small wins, to try small actions to break down your goals into small chunks and then achieve those small chunks and then collect those neuroprints. I see it personally, I see it as a mind game, as Pokemon or some of these Candy Crush things that you go from one level to another collecting points, and that's more or less how your brain works. Every time you win, you collect a neuroprint, and after a while you will have so many neuroprints in your brain that you just get really confident. Even though you are trying something new, you will be able to say, I've done so many things before, now I can do anything I want to. Yes, I can fail, but I will try again. And that takes me to my next point, which is failing on purpose. You know, winners actually know that it's very unlikely that the first time they try something, they're going to fail, okay? Because the likelihood of getting it right the first time you try it is very low. You don't know anything about it, you've never tried it. There are many variables that come into play and you basically don't know how to do things and you're gonna fail. So if you are what I call an intentional winner, you basically take action and you observe the response. You take action, you see what happened, choose another way, what you change, what you need to change, how you need to act again, and try again, and try again. It's by trial and error that you make progress. And that's what I call failing on purpose. And for normal people, for average people, they will try once and they just give up. An intentional winner, as I call it, basically takes action. He knows he's gonna fail, and then he tries again until basically he ran out of option or ideas, and if that person gets to that point, the intentional winner will find a mentor or a coach to show a possible path that person has not seen before and then keeps trying. Okay, so that's failing on purpose, and that's really, really important for you to know. And that's connected with what I just mentioned, which is my next point: win by observation. Every time you try, you fail on purpose, you collect what worked and what doesn't. And let me tell you something, by experience, what doesn't work is as important as what works. Because when you fail, well, you basically never fail, because when you try something and it doesn't work, what you do is, you keep in your memory the paths that won't take you where you need to go. And when you're trying something new, many times those paths are the same to achieve that goal. It's kind of, if you're going to some place you never know before, you've never been to before, you know that if you get through certain corridor, through certain alley, that's going to be a blind street and you are not going to go through it. And the next time you're going to go to a similar place, that corridor, blind corridor, will be in your mind, and you know that if you go through it, you won't make it. So you never fail, basically. You never fail 100% unless you learn something from it. And that's really critical for you to understand. Now, another way to increase your confidence is to know something important. And please make a note of this. Every time you set a goal, every time you start taking action, you always start, even if you don't know it, you always start with an image in your mind. I'm going to give you an example. Recently, I was traveling to Germany just for some business, and I live in London, so the flight is about 2 hours. It's not really long, and I'm scared of flying. Not terrified, but scared of flying. And I was reading this book, Psycho-Cybernetics, and definitely, even though I knew this, I didn't understand it very much. That's the fact that you always start with an image. So during this flight, because I was reading the book, I put in practice something I read there. The fact that you always start with an image. So the image that I start putting in my head, just to eliminate that fear that something was going to happen, is I started to picture a safe landing, that I would go back home safe, on time, there wouldn't be any problem, that the flight wouldn't have any turbulence. And instead of imagining the opposite, that something was going to happen, we would be landing on water, I started to create this picture of everything was going to be all right. And every time I would have this fear coming back to me, I would basically go back to the positive picture. And that's really important, because when you don't have confidence about something, when your fear comes to talk to you, is basically because you've started with a bad image, with a negative image of the outcome you are going to have. And that's really, really critical for you to understand. Always, it doesn't matter what, start with a positive image. Now, you would ask, what if I really don't know exactly where I'm going to get to? I cannot create that picture. Well, even if you are doing trial and error and you don't know where you're going to start, at least you can imagine yourself with a smile on your face, being safe, close your eyes, believe 100% that it's possible to achieve what you're going to achieve, and then take action. That's the best possible thing you can do to start any endeavor or to start working on any goal. Now, my next point is that the relationship between excuses and lack of confidence. If you ask yourself, or maybe if you've observed yourself before, when you have lack of confidence about something, you start creating excuses not to do it. And that's so common, and it's so powerful to know that, because you can use that concept to push yourself and actually to go where you need to go. So every time, for example, you need to go and talk to somebody, you've never spoken before about, or somebody that you need to get something from, and you're not confident about what you're going to say, or you're not confident about getting the output that you need to get, basically somehow that loser you have inside you starts creating excuses, starts telling you, nah, you'll not be able to do it, you've not done it before, and it's going to hurt, it's going to be painful, it's going to be so bad that you won't be able to get out of your house again tomorrow. And it's important for you to know this, that if you have a lack of confidence, then what you need to start doing is failing on purpose. Okay? Fail on purpose, increase your confidence, get some positive neuroprints which will get you going. But for no reason, anytime, just don't take action. Take any kind of action. In my book, The Mental Breakfast, I talk about a concept I learned from somebody from Venezuela, and they were talking about the fact that luck is on your feet. And what they mean by that, because they were being interviewed about why they left Venezuela, being this country in a bad economical situation at the moment, as of the recording of this video, is basically because they said that if you start moving, if you start doing something, something else is going to happen. But if you don't start taking action, any kind of action, nothing, absolutely nothing is going to happen. Now, just to finish, I'm writing a book, it's not finished yet, and I'm just telling you about this to give you a glimpse of what I'm talking on that book, and it's actually related with what I've spoken here about. The book is called Intentional Winner, and basically talks about how for you to become a winner in anything you want to do is you need to be intentional. You need to take decisions which will move you forward to your goals. And it sounds easy, it sounds almost silly. Yes, you need to take decisions to move towards your goals, but it's actually absolutely difficult because 90% of the time we are making decisions we are not conscious of. You're eating things that you at night you will think, how did I eat that if I'm trying to lose weight? Or how did I make this decision if this is completely opposite? It's taking me in the opposite direction that I want to go. And the Intentional Winner will talk about the confidence, it will talk about failing on purpose, it will talk about the different ways you can actually use in a day-to-day to move forward and faster toward your goal. So at some point, maybe February 2019 is going to be published. That's kind of what I'm aiming to, and hopefully you will be part of the people who will get it first. So just to finish all this video, this concept, and I hope you learned something, pen and paper, you wrote something and you'll put it in practice, is that confidence is important because it's about fears. It's about moving forwards. If you have no confidence and you are not aware of it, then you will end up stuck in one place, not moving about. You have to collect positive neuroprints all the time so you can increase your confidence day by day in small bits. That's really important. Always try to fail on purpose and just get the feedback of what you're trying to do. And on that feedback, if you get into habit of doing that, you will win by observation. Always, this is another concept we just discussed, is that you always start with an image. So before you even start doing something, start taking action, is just paint a picture, a positive picture, feel that picture so you can get the fuel to go forward. Now, always connect excuses with lack of confidence. Excuses will always come from lack of confidence, but they are very much related. They are very good friends, if you know what I mean. So be aware of that so you can take action. And at some point in February, Wait for my book, The Intentional Winner, so you can work and improve yourself a little bit more to become that winner you have inside. Thank you very much. I'm Noel Cardona, life and business coach. I hope you learned something from this, and I'll see you later.